I was standing at my kitchen sink washing dishes when my husband Marcus said those words. The plate slipped from my hands and shattered. Coffee splashed across my feet, but I couldn't move. I just stood there while Marcus kept talking like he'd introduced me to a new co-worker. "Janet, meet Vanessa. She'll be moving in next week." Behind me, I heard a woman's voice, young, confident. "Hi, Janet, I've heard so much about you." I turned around. There was a woman in my kitchen, maybe 40, tight jeans, low-cut blouse, her hand resting on my husband's arm like she belonged there. Marcus smiled at her, the smile that used to be mine. "I know this is sudden, but Vanessa and I have been together for a while. She's moving into the guest room. We're evolving as a couple. Modern marriages do this all the time." The guest room, where my mother stayed before she died, where I'd rocked my children. My room, in my house. "What if I say no?" I asked. Marcus shrugged. "Then you're welcome to leave, but Vanessa is moving in either way." I looked at my husband of 35 years, the man whose business I'd supported through failures, the man whose mother I'd cared for while she was dying, the man who was giving my mother's room to his mistress and telling me to accept it or get out. Something inside me cracked, but not the way he thought. If this sounds familiar, stay with me. You can like and subscribe. We talk about things we don't say out loud. Here's what Marcus didn't know. 6 months earlier, I'd found the text messages. I'd seen everything. The hotels, the promises, the I love yous that were supposed to be mine. I'd sat on my bathroom floor and cried until I was sick. But then I'd gotten up. And I'd made a plan. I'd hired David Chen, a divorce lawyer. I'd documented every lie, every late night, every receipt. I'd legally separated our joint bank accounts. I'd moved my half into my own name. And I'd remembered something my mother told me when she left me this house 15 years ago. "Don't ever let a man make you dependent, Janet. Always have something that's just yours." The house was mine. Just mine. The deed was in my name only. Marcus had been paying utilities and thinking he owned half of everything. But he owned nothing. I'd spent 6 months getting strong while he fell deeper in love with Vanessa. And I'd waited. Because I wanted him to feel secure, confident, untouchable. I wanted him to bring home. Moving day came. Vanessa's boxes filled the guest room. She made herself coffee in my kitchen. She talked about house rules and meal planning together like we were roommates. Marcus watched her like she was the answer to everything. I stayed calm. I smiled when I needed to. And I waited for 2 o'clock. At exactly 2, the doorbell rang. David Chen stood there with a briefcase and a process server. "Mrs. Thompson, I'm your attorney. We have documents for Mr. Thompson." Marcus came down the stairs. "What's going on?" The process server handed him an envelope. I watched Marcus's face as he read, watched confusion turn to disbelief, turn to panic. Divorce papers, eviction. "Janet, this is insane." "This is my house." "Actually," David said, pulling out papers, "it's not. This house was left to Mrs. Thompson by her mother. The deed is in her name only. You have 30 days to vacate." Vanessa grabbed Marcus's arm. "Wait, you don't own this house?" "And the joint accounts," David continued, "were legally separated 3 months ago. Mrs. Thompson took her half, as she was entitled to." Marcus's hands were shaking. 3 months ago? You've been planning this for 6 months, I said quietly. "Since I found the text messages you weren't careful enough to hide." Vanessa stepped back. "You said she knew about us. You said she was okay with it." "She was supposed to be," Marcus shouted. "Janet, tell her, we can work this out. We don't need lawyers." I looked at the woman I'd been 6 months ago, the one who would have believed him, would have tried to save a marriage that was already over, would have made herself smaller so he could have more room. "You have 30 days, Marcus," I said. Vanessa was looking at him like she'd never seen him before. "You told me you were wealthy. You told me we'd travel. Paris next month, you said. I am wealthy. Janet, tell her about our investments." "The investments that were divided 3 months ago," I said. "Marcus, you have exactly half of what we built together, which isn't nothing, but it's not what you told her, is it?" Vanessa picked up her purse. "I need to go." "Baby, wait!" Marcus followed her. "This is a misunderstanding. We can fix this." But Vanessa was already gone. I heard her car start, heard her drive away. Marcus stood in the doorway, breathing hard. Then he turned to me. "This is your fault. You drove her away." "No," I said. "You brought her here. You expected me to share you or leave. You gave away my mother's room." "You forgot. I'm not the woman who disappears for someone else anymore." He tried everything over the next 30 days. Apologies, anger, bargaining. He called Vanessa every day. She never answered. She'd only wanted his money, and he didn't have any without me. The divorce was finalized 2 months later. Marcus moved into a 1-bedroom apartment. I heard he's dating again, women who don't know the whole story. I repainted the guest room, turned it into an art studio. Started painting for the first time in my life because Marcus always said it was a waste of money and space. Now I have all the space in the world. It's been 6 months since Marcus walked out of this house for the last time, 6 months since I stopped being his wife and became just Janet again. I sit in my kitchen every morning drinking coffee in the sunlight. Julie comes over on Tuesdays. Emma and Leo visit without calling first. I'm taking painting classes. I went on my first date last month. His name was Robert. He was kind. I don't know if it'll go anywhere, but it felt good to sit across from someone who saw me as a person, not a service. If stories like this resonate, stay connected. Like and subscribe. We talk about real things here. Sometimes people ask if I regret the 35 years with Marcus, if I feel like I wasted my life. I don't. Those years taught me what I won't accept, what I won't tolerate, what I deserve. And more importantly, they taught me it's never too late to choose yourself. Even after 35 years, even at 60 years old, even when everyone expects you to just keep accepting whatever you're given. Marcus wanted me to share him, share my home, share my space. He wanted me to make myself smaller so he could have more room. But this house, this life, this heart, they're not for sharing anymore. They're just for me, and that's exactly how I want it.